Because they're gonna invest in future talent, right? So that's why I think like franchising would be really good.
It's just about East. It's just about competitive gaming. It's just about winning, bro.
I am on the path to immortality. 5 man's deep, and we stomping on the enemy.
Wait, are we talking about Naruto?
Yeah, Naruto's hella big, bro.
You can have an opinion on an anime if you didn't watch it.
Okay,
I've watched it. Don't get me wrong, it's not the greatest, but you can't have an opinion if you didn't watch it.
Okay.
I would have thought you would have gave it a chance because
but where's that 1,000 episode of One Piece? Where does that fall?
Because you gave One Piece 1,000 episodes. I thought you give at least.
No, we literally asked you guys show us the best.
Why would I?
You guys gave us this fight.
At least
you asked for the best fight scene.
I gave you a different fight scene.
Yeah, the best fight scene from Naruto.
I didn't say Naruto was. I said Naruto was pain, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you the first option on YouTube. I think it was Naruto vs Sasuke, but after watching it, it was, the reason why the anime is made is because there's too many flashbacks. Thinking that's how bad it is.
You can actually watch it by cutting like bare episodes out, almost like 5 minutes.
And that's why it makes it mid, but you can't say that because you didn't watch it.
Okay, so
well,
when I come back and I watch it and I think it's mid, I'm shitting on all of you.
Okay, but first of all, One Piece is also
fair,
mid.
though. That's after you watch it. That's after you watch it.
One Piece is hella mid?
No, One Piece is actually mid.
No, One Piece is actually really good, dude.
All these animes are ass.
One Piece is actually really good.
Yeah, this guy's gonna
Bro, no,
bro.
Talk to me when you watch Nagi no Asakura, yo. Don't tell me that's mid. You know that's good.
Oh, it's great.
I cried 3 times. Well, everybody, this is episode 2 of Spike Talk with Negate and Mr. Rizzy Moves. And welcome. Today we got a great show. We can talk a little bit about VALORANT Esports, the state of the scene, VCT, and we also have an amazing and special guest today. We got Mr. Jar0sa in the building. The sweetest man, them. Flex player, does it all. We have him in here, but we're gonna talk a little bit about Esports, VALORANT, and just get caught up with the scene. So talk a little bit about VALORANT Esports and VCT. So groups A and B are now set. We got XSET in Group A leading the way with Ghost Gaming, 100 Thieves, and NRG. And in Group B, we got Optic Gaming, Luminosity, FaZe Clan, and Evil Geniuses. They are all competing in the playoffs starting on June 16, and they're gonna all be fighting for a spot in Copenhagen. Stage 2 challengers, right? Stage 2 Masters in Copenhagen next month. And yeah, Mr. Moves, what do you think so far about this event?
Well, we went back to the last episode. Talked about how the guard has been absolutely. You want to talk about mid? Not even mid. Yeah, the guard's been bad.
Facts.
Like the guard has been terrible ever since they came back from a shellacking in Reykjavik. They haven't been the same. I mean. Every time we put out one of these episodes, whether it's this podcast or Jules and I talking on Discord, we always talk about how the teams around the scene and in NA always adapting and always getting better. It's like every single team that has tried to make it over the hump, they get knocked out like by playoffs during these close quals, and then they come back with an even stronger game plan, even stronger sense of what to do. And because the guard looks so unstoppable, coming out of Masters 1 or Challengers 1, they had the proverbial target on their backs. And that's true with every... If you look at Sentinels, if you look at TSM when they first dominated, when First Strike was around, the target was on their backs.
Right.
The question would be, how would you adjust? And the guard just... Even then, even with so many people adapting, so many teams just getting better, they look like they were like monstered at Masters 1.
Do you think, I know we talked about this in the last episode, do you think that's the inexperience that's really like the problem here?
Yeah,
like
100%.
the youth, all new players.
You take a young team to go there feeling like they're the best and they get clapped,
right?
And you come back and then you see, we talk about the twit longer.
Right.
It's like, I need to be better. You have all of these negative kind of thoughts and connotations about yourself, and you bring it into the server, and then you start, developing really bad habits. And then you start to notice that, and then it's a little bit hard because you're trying to get over those bad habits, yada, yada, yada. Same thing with any sort of traditional competitive sports scene. If, for example, you airball your shot, and then you go back, you want to you really want to make up for that play. So you reach in, you foul, and then you start getting frustrated.
Yeah, you make like these plays that usually you wouldn't make these
out of desperation.
Right, out of desperation, right.
You see a lot of desperation plays coming out of the guard too. That's what has the guard falling apart. And that's it's the fall from grace where you even though you're not a fan of the team, you're like, damn, what happened?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they've seen the top, and now it's like what you said, adjustments and desperation. It really feels like the downfall for them. But speaking of desperation and adjustments, talk a little bit about Sentinels, kind of the elephant in the room here.
Always
Obviously,
the elephant in the room.
yeah, I
man.
feel like every time we bring them up, there's always some kind of like thing going on. Obviously, they have the coach playing instead of Sick. Coach is Ruckus, right?
Ruckus.
Yeah. Sorry, Ruckus isn't playing, but Ruckus is playing. Yeah, that guy's.
Ruckus went back to Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruckus went back to Call of Duty. Yeah, he went back to Call of Duty.
Anyway, the coach is playing, so obviously it's there's like a lot of they're having a lot of issues with the team. But yeah, what do you think? Like they are not undefeated. They're the opposite of undefeated.
They're winless.
They're
super defeated.
They're super defeated. 0-4 today. Before this recording, they're also playing against
Tonight.
C9, right? Which is also another
huge
like
surprise.
another big surprise as well. But yeah, Sentinels. What's going on?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm so tired of talking about what's going on with Sentinels.
I mean,
At
every
this
time we talk
point,
about
blow the fuck up, man. Like, I don't even care. Like, it's just downright disgraceful, to be honest. I'm gonna say that. Like, you were the top guys for the majority of 2021. You won Reykjavik. You had a decent showing at Berlin Masters 2. Berlin Masters 3, we saw little cracks, and then Champions, you just absolutely flail out of the first round. The fact that we saw this fucking one event after the other, the slow fall from grace. Last I guess, Challenge was one qual. Sentinels actually made it to the playoffs. They didn't do well in the playoffs. But now what happens here? They didn't even make the playoffs. In fact, Negate, out of the 8 maps that they've played,
Yes.
they've won 1.
Oh.
1 map, which is
Damn.
the absolute worst map ratio out of all the teams, just behind TSM at 2-8. And when you're behind TSM, I mean, TSM hasn't been good for a while. You fucking suck. So, like, we can talk about the fall from grace that the Sentinels had. I mean, C9 also the same thing. Granted, they did make an literal in-tournament change with the trade between T1 and them. It's
okay.
Curry and Zeta.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was big news actually.
I actually don't know why that trade went down. I have no context of it. I just know that it happened.
I heard that trade was shit. Was it not a good trade for?
I mean, Curry when he first came through, he looked mighty impressive, especially considering he was a Sentinel crossing over into a controller role, and he looked like he could hold his own. But it looks like, record wise, not doing good.
Wasn't fruitful, right?
It was definitely not fruitful. I mean, like, you could have had Zeta still there and maybe even just capture some of the magic, or even just possibly sneak into.
But do you even think it's like one of those players' a problem, or you think it's just a roots like deeply rooted, like the team itself is just not working out? Like, do you even think it's Zeta or Curry would have made a difference? I might even just think that the whole C9 team is just not
good anymore.
Yeah, it's just not working out. Like I feel like when you talk about adjustments and adapting, the teams here that are at the bottom are the teams that were at some point the teams, right? And it seems like
It's very true, yeah.
like all 4 of these are
yeah.
teams that just last Masters or Challengers, we were just like, oh shit, these guys are the best. And now
These
months
are-
later, they haven't adjusted. They've kept the same kind of style and ideology when they make their teams, but it's like, look at them now: 1-4, 1-4, 1-3, 0-4. I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just like a deeply rooted issue. I don't think it's just.
I mean, like, that fall from grace is just kind of, it's hard.
Right.
Like, it's hard to see them do that. And like,
And if we're talking about these older teams, look at the new teams that are doing well, that have adapted. XSET, Ghost Gaming, Evil Geniuses beat Optic Gaming.
EG is so impressive. Even though EG's record is 3-2, honestly, EG is probably one of my favorite underdog teams.
Right.
Shout out to Boostio, who's been doing an amazing job calling for them. Like you said, they beat Optic recently, so that's a good thing.
They're the only one that beat Optic so far.
Yeah, they're the only one that beat Optic, which is really good. And XSET, I talked about it in the when Jules and I were talking. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Right.
Like, they've always been the ones that were knocking on the door. Kind of like how C9 was before they became like an established top 3 team in NA. Like, they're always knocking on the door, just hoping to get through. XSET was actually my pick to secure one of the spots alongside Optic to go into Copenhagen.
Right.
So seeing them at 4-1 right now at the top is, I mean, that, shout out, man. Shout out to Cryo. Shout out to Zekin. Shout out to the whole squad. Thanks for putting on. Rep the set. Yes, sir. Ghost Gaming 2, the kings of the Mickey Mouse circuit.
Right.
Because they paid their dues. Like, these dudes paid their dues. They went from tournament to tournament to tournament. They won pretty much every single small tournament, and now the chemistry is flowing. They 2-0'd 100 Thieves yesterday, and 100 Thieves has looked solid so far. So that's a good thing to like, I guess that's a good indication of where Ghost Gaming is as a team. And FaZe Clan.
FaZe Clan, yeah.
FaZe up, I guess.
Yeah, FaZe up in this case.
I mean, I guess, yeah. We come back from CDL, FaZe down, but I mean, like, FaZe up in this case. Baby Bay. Also, you talk about paying your dues. Baby Bay has been through it all with his tenure at FaZe Clan. Now he has a team that he can rely on and kind of just have him support, as you know what Baby Bay does, and it's good for them.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Good for them, and the team. What's really impressive about all this is that even though everyone is still adjusting, Optic is still number 1. Yeah. In Group B, at least.
Sure. Exactly. They still look really good. They still like the best in the world.
The kings of the world are still on top, and that's also very, very, very. And shout out to NRG too. I mean, shout out to all the teams that made the that are in the playoffs.
Qualified
for playoffs.
So speaking of all these teams, the one team that we haven't touched on here, Luminosity. And what I was talking about with Luminosity earlier is they're also leaving Valorant after their run here in Challengers, which is very surprising because, again, they are literally in the top echelon in Group B, in literally the whole event. And after this Challengers, Enthusiast and the guys who run Luminosity are pretty much disbanding the team after this. And what do you think about that? Like, what are your thoughts on?
Aren't their finances and their financial problems like public right now?
Yeah, so I guess that's one of the points too. Is that Enthusiast recently put out a quarterly financial report on like how they're doing, and it just shows again most esports orders aren't profitable, and I think Enthusiast had a big hit last quarter, which I think also led to them doing this. But I also think this also happened coincidentally right before Riot talked about franchising, so. I think it has to do something with both. It has something to do with maybe they're preparing for Riot franchising next year. It's maybe like they don't have enough money to support it right now, so maybe they're preparing for that. Like we don't really know the details of it, but it's just coincidental that these two talking points are happening right at the same time of them leaving.
Timing is coincidental.
Yeah,
I think the timing could be coincidental. I don't know. I was on the side of maybe Luminosity really doesn't have the cash and the capital to just keep supporting, but you do make a pretty compelling point where the timing of it all, it makes sense, and Luminosity is also in league, so
yeah, they're in a lot of stuff. They're paying XQC.
Yeah, they're paying XQC.
I don't know how much. I don't know what the XQC deal is, but
I don't know if you guys know, but they just bought a PUBG team.
Well, there you go. They just bought a PUBG team.
There you go.
They just paid for a PUBG team.
At this point, I feel like they're also trying to figure out what's really making money for them, right?
That makes sense.
It's very hard
because right now VCT, even though it's it's growing, it's still in its early stages, and
right. And we don't know if it's like, it might be hella expensive to do something like this. I think a PUBG team maybe not as expensive.
It's true.
So who knows, right? Like
who knows? But they are in league. They're franchised in league. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
They're no.
They're not in League of Legends.
Okay, they're not in League of Legends. I thought they would be. I thought they are. Never mind. Because I was gonna say if they are in league and they know that Riot Riot backed event can make
they're
money.
in CDL because Seattle Surge is
they're in CDL.
Right.
They just won. Shout out to the Surge.
Right.
I'm not sure if they're still in Rocket League or not.
Right. This is information. Good info.
Yeah.
But regardless, they have a lot of streamers. They have
maybe they are just shifting towards content.
It could be too, because again, we talk about a lot on this channel, and whenever we're here, it's like most orgs aren't making money, and even the most successful ones are also barely making money. And usually, when these teams who are making slightly little bit of profit, it's not in esports. It's usually in content creation, merchandise, 100 Thieves, FaZe Clan. It's like these guys aren't really making it in the actual competitive side itself. So I think Luminosity, they're trying to figure out themselves as well, right? After having quarter after quarter, I think it's it's on a steady decline of how much money they're losing. They're trying to figure themselves out, and unfortunately, they had to leave Valorant. And like what you said earlier, they're a sick team. Their team,
they're great.
All the players, I know on Twitter they were even looking for a new team. I remember all of them were like, "Oh, we're looking for a squad."
You talk about the Sentinels blowing it up.
Yeah.
Drop everybody and pick up LG, and just be Sentinels. Your whole Sentinels team is now the LG team.
And add Sinatraa. Bring my boy Sinatraa back.
Okay, first of all, no. Just for the sake, okay, if you look at these 5 right now, if you add Sinatraa, for what? Where?
He's still a sick guy.
Put him where?
He's still good.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Before we bring on our guest, let's talk about for the
Yeah,
second.
talk about that in a minute.
You are always making the point that Sinatraa should be backing competitive players. Aside from him being a good player,
Yes.
what are the advantages?
I understand his repercussions, and I understand it's a PR nightmare for whichever team brings him in. But again, I haven't seen him play as much recently, but I believe he's still one of the best players in this game. And I think most teams could benefit from having him on the team in a competitive standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously, if you can deal with the PR stuff, sure. But I think you add him on a team, you could win. And I think, and I don't know the situation now, but it seems like that there isn't any more like issues with like the commissioner with the league to have him back in. If you can have him in, I think you take him. If he completes your team,
that's a hard disagree for me.
I think you take him.
Yeah, that's a hard until
But
all,
you just
everything is
disagree
settled.
because of the PR stuff.
Because that's the whole thing.
But isn't it settled? I mean, I don't know.
It's not. No, it's not settled. They dropped it. They dropped the case. It's inconclusive. He wasn't proven innocent nor guilty. It's inconclusive. It's
so he wasn't proven innocent or guilty.
Which means why?
I don't know. You paid the girl.
Okay, exactly. You paid. So that's even worse. Okay,
we don't know that. Again, I just assume.
Okay, yeah, okay, but
no
okay.
one knows that.
Let's say.
But he can play.
Here's the scenario.
But he can play.
He can play.
Riot says he can play.
But whoever they've warned the teams to pay whoever wants to
warned
sign
the
him.
All right.
Like be prepared for the consequences.
You win the chip.
Okay.
I'm winning the chip.
Okay, here. Listen. We'll paint the scenario out this way.
Sure.
There's no conclusive evidence as to like innocence or guilt.
Right.
It's kind of just up in the air. The case is dropped.
Right.
If someone comes up to you or someone comes up to another player with some sort of accusation that is very, very, very serious, with no conclusive evidence whatsoever on either side, where's the punishment that lies in there? So you're basically telling someone who can be accused of something that they may or may not have done,
yes,
but then let him get away with it.
But he didn't do it.
How do you know?
You don't know if he did or not.
Exactly.
I could accuse you of something. You accuse me of something.
Isn't it innocent until proven guilty?
But he hasn't been proven either.
Exactly. See, this is where there's a gray area.
Which you can argue could be worse.
You can argue. These are all.
It's worse for Sinatraa too.
In
To
an
be.
industry such as esports, also for something like this is a big deal.
This is a
no.
huge
I'm not
deal.
saying it's not a big
In
deal.
a small industry.
Not saying it's not.
Did they say that he had paid her out? Like.
No, that's just me fucking
Why
talking.
would they? Why
That's
would
just
they
me
say?
talking shit.
Why would that be stated?
No, that's me talking shit.
That's
That's me
just
talking shit.
the thing. That's just a interpretation.
It's a theory.
Yeah, it's just me talking shit.
It's just
It's dropped out of nowhere. Why would you do that?
Yeah, you just out of nowhere.
Yo, she came out with so much evidence.
Yeah, she came out with the.
the.
And
What happened to the court case though? Did they go to court?
they didn't go to court. So Riot investigated Sinatraa, but Sinatraa failed to comply with the investigation. He didn't want to do it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then who dropped? So then the girl decided to drop it. True.
So then, like,
So then
there's a lot of loose
Yeah.
ends that aren't tied. Why would
Yes.
you bring that as a burden to your team?
I mean, yeah, if I can take the PR hit and I have the money. to
Okay,
do
it's
it,
not just about the PR hit. You're talking about the players
It
too.
kind of is a PR hit.
No,
That's
but you're
really
all.
what the
It's
problem
not just
is.
about the PR hit.
Yeah.
You're talking about the players too. There's 4 other players that you have to take account.
Yes.
You have one dude who has so many off-server issues.
Yes.
How could that negatively impact the people on the team?
If-
That's exactly like getting clapped, coming back, thinking negatively about yourself.
Sorry, okay, I don't know. Again, I don't know the relations between each player and whatnot. All I know is when I go on Twitter, there is a half of people who support Sinatraa and half of people who don't support Sinatraa. If I think the 4 players support Sinatraa and it worked and it's a good fit, I take
Okay,
it.
but the support, like, what if there are days where it comes back? What if the
Everyone-
case comes back?
Sure, if it comes back or not, but like again, if Riot is allowing it and it says you can have them, and the 4 players are cool with it, because again, half of the community is cool with it, and half of the community isn't. If you can take them, you can take the hit, you can pay them. I think you do it to win the championship. It's
You
about
can take
winning.
the hit, you can pay them, but we're talking about franchising and the expenses that it comes with it.
Yes. Again, I don't have the money to do
makes
it.
zero
If you have
sense.
the money to do it,
That
then you
makes
do it.
absolutely
If it's about
no
winning
sense.
the chip, I think you take
If it's about winning the chip, but you talk about freaking esports not having enough money, and
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna lose money anyway, look at all of these teams. Look at, bro. We talked about this with Evil Geniuses. I'm pretty sure Evil Geniuses is losing money out the ass, bro. But at this point, it's just about it's just about competitive gaming. It's just about winning, bro. Like, I don't know.
So what you're
Yeah.
Oh
Yes,
god.
what am I saying?
Oh god.
For some people, it depends.
You're
Are you here?
for the
Are you
money.
here for the money? Are you here for the competitive aspect? Like, do you just like esports? Like, it seems like a lot of these orgs just like esports. Like, maybe they see the future of like we're building something here that later on in maybe 10 years we're gonna build something nice. So I think at this point, adding some chips under your belt, and then in 10 years, oh shit, these guys, it's like the Boston Celtics. They have how many rings right now? I don't know what the controversies they had 20 years ago. I'm sure players had controversies then too. Didn't matter. They have 15. How many rings do they have? They have a lot of rings.
17.
17 rings. Oh, who knows? I don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know. I don't know.
Why would you take that on? Like, it's just why would you risk it? That's
Again, if you can, I think you should. Again, if most orgs can't. So if you can't, don't. But if you can, I think you do it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the thing is, he's already tried out for so many teams. Then why haven't
Yeah, and again, it
why
seems
haven't
like
they picked him up yet?
yeah. So probably yeah. So then they can't. So
Yeah,
then,
so then-
But you asked for my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm just saying.
Anyways.
That's all. After all that banter, now we have an amazing guest in the building. We are pleased to announce the sweetest flex player in Toronto, flexing in and out of the gym, filling up all the gaps, anywhere and everywhere. If you need him, he got it.
Can carry 4 plates and also 4 teammates. Ladies and gentlemen, NBKS Mercenaries' very own Jar0sa.
Hey,
man.
You saying, bro?
Hey, man.
Jeez. Look at this
Jeez.
guy. Hands soft like a little baby's bottom. What? God damn, man.
And if you think he looks very similar, it's because he's the bigger version of the last episode's guest.
Yeah, dude, he's wearing extra. This is an extra large sweater, bro.
No,
And he's filling that shit out.
Yeah, look at him, bro. Look at him.
Dude, how you doing, broski?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good, Joe. Pretty hyped to have you on here.
Fantastic.
I'm glad to be here.
Bro. Dope shit, yeah.
Sick.
All right, well, yeah. I mean, let's get into it, bro. Like, how's the Valorant playing? How's the team doing? New team, I know.
Yeah, so new team. You know, we just finalized our roster.
Right.
It's going good. I think it's like probably the most excited I've ever been
Wow.
about our roster. I mean, I've been a part of a few, but I think the main reason why is because I see a lot of potential. You know, don't get me wrong. Every roster I've been on has had potential, but you know, I guess the best way to say it is like for this team, I'm the boomer of the team. Like,
Oh,
I'm turning 23. I think. Well, we have like
Who's that
two.
boomer?
We have 2 17-year-olds, like one 18-year-old.
Oh wow, okay.
And then my brother who's like 20.
Who else on the squad? Like, I mean, just to shout
So
out.
it's me, my brother Romy, Agro, Arrow, and HCU.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
so they're all Zoomers. And so I'm like basically babysitting.
Yeah, you're the veteran.
The thing is, I'm not even like a veteran per se, just because like they've been competing just as long as me.
Right, good.
But I guess I'm the more mature.
Do you think like they look up to you in a sense, kind of thing? Do you think it's like that? Like,
I don't even think they look up to me, to be honest.
Hey, no.
It's okay, we look up to
We
you,
should
though.
fix that. We should fix that.
Yeah.
Guys, look up to him.
yeah, exactly. Well, everyone here looks up to him. Look at him.
Yeah,
bro.
look at him, man.
Jesus Christ.
Such a model fucking human over here, man.
Anyway, model citizen. Anyway, well, yeah. So, you said this is like a few teams. You've been on a few teams now.
Yeah.
I think this is what, like your third team.
This is my third team.
Third team
Yeah.
in Valorant. I guess for everyone who's watching, like, and what's your background in Valorant? Like, how'd you even get into the scene?
Well, I mean, I started playing Valorant when the game came out, so I was like
Right.
playing League of Legends for like 8
You're a
years.
big league fan.
Yeah, big league fan. I started playing League of Legends back when I was in like 7th grade.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, and so I played League of Legends, and then during the pandemic they released Valorant. And even though I played League of Legends, I was really into like competitive CS:GO. Like in terms of like watching, I never really played CS:GO. Like I don't have any FPS experience, and so but when Valorant came out, I was like, you know, it's like new game and Riot made it, so I was like, you know, give it a shot, and I really enjoyed it. And so I was just playing with a bunch of like friends from high school,
Right.
and we got pretty high rank, pretty quickly.
Right.
And then I was like, you know, like we should do some tournaments, you know, just for fun, you know, just see how it goes. Because back when I used to play League of Legends, I used to compete like amateurly also. I mean, I wasn't very good, but like
Yeah.
the tournaments because it's fun, you know, it's fun
Yeah.
competing.
You had that competitive drive.
Yeah, in general, like in everything I do, I'm just a competitive person. So naturally in Valorant, I was very competitive, and so I got my friends to play some tournaments, and then like we did pretty like actually the first tournament we did was the LTG. LTG or whatever it was.
Yeah, Invitational.
Invitational.
Yeah, let's
one.
go.
It was like a really small tournament, but
Yeah.
like, and that was like our first time ever like playing competitively, and like we did. I think we came second in that one, and so we were like, oh, like competing is actually like pretty fun. So then. I mean, for me at least, I was always interested in competing, but the other 4 of my teammates, they were like,
yo, but that's good to hear from like from our standpoint, organizers that like, holy shit, like we actually like
we did our job.
We kind of did it.
You did your job. You did your job.
Like that's dope.
Yeah, you did your job. So like after that, I was already convinced. Like I already wanted to compete, but then the rest of my 4 teammates were like, oh, like after playing the tournament, they're like, okay, let's try it. So then we competed. So before that, like we were just playing ranked, like a ranked 5 star. Right. But after that tournament, like, we were like, let's give competing a shot. So I mean, that's how I got started. I mean, that was November 2020.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's been almost 2 years competing since. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. No, that's good shit. Again, that's dope to hear that. Like we.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting though, because you said you had no FPS experience.
Yeah.
And no FPS background, and when we saw you guys play, you guys looked like you were keeping up with people who have been around the FPS like games for a while. Right. How much of an adjustment was actual gameplay from MOBA to FPS?
It was a pretty big like adjustment in terms of mechanics, because like playing League of Legends, like the abilities are still both like pretty prevalent in both games, but I mean mechanics wise, because in League like you're just right clicking all the time and everything, and you don't have to worry about like the keyboard as much. Right. But I don't know, for me at least, it was kind of like it wasn't that hard to transition in terms of like game sense and game knowledge. Like I never really had an issue like figuring out, oh, like this is where I should be positioning. Like
it was more of just a mechanical.
Yeah, it was a mechanical thing, like having to point and click and like move at the same time. Like that's where I struggled, but like
I think it just comes naturally because you've been playing games.
Yeah, I've been playing games my whole life.
Yeah, and I think the knowledge and just figuring out how to play the game, I think just comes naturally.
Yeah. I think for me, like not just in Valorant, but in any game like I pick up, I pick it up pretty quickly because I mean, like I said, I'm a competitive person.
You're a gamer, bro.
Yeah, I'm a gamer. So like even when I'm playing like quote unquote casually in a game, I'm still like in my head like very competitive, and I'm like figuring out, oh, like this is what I did wrong, this is what I should have done better. Like my friends like have a meme with me, like they call me like a sweat. Even when we're playing like casual like Apex Legends or like casual like Fortnite or whatever, like I'm sweating because I'm trying to like do really well.
And I think that like again, like you're a gamer, you have that competitive drive. I feel like it just comes naturally for you, where it's like now that you understand the rules or the landscape that you're playing on, you can pick up things.
Yeah,
where it's like,
exactly.
It's like chess, like we talk about chess. It's like when you play chess, it's like this thing does that, this thing does that. Now you're playing this game of like, you do this, I do that, you do this, I do that.
Reaction to the reaction to the reaction to the reaction.
Yeah, like once I figure out the mechanics for any game, it comes easier. I mean, but my competitiveness doesn't only come from game, like, because I grew up playing like sports and everything. Like I played like rep basketball, like starting at like age like 6th grade.
Shout out Filipinos.
Phil Cat, baby.
Yeah, no, I actually played that. Yeah, I know, but
okay,
playing like basketball at like the age 6, 7.
Yeah,
it's not like I just grew up in competitive sports, so like that's why I guess it just carried over to like gaming.
Right. Yeah. And you were we talked about this before. You powerlifting at some point.
Yeah, I used to powerlift. Before the pandemic, but I mean like pandemic made it hard, so I kind of like stepped away from that. But yeah, no, I used to compete in powerlifting before that too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So just competitive prowess all around.
I like to think so. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I don't think I necessarily come off as a competitive person.
Right.
I feel like people like even when I like talk to people in Valorant, like I feel like I don't seem like a competitive person, but I think if you get to know me, like
it's just part of your
yeah.
Cool. Well, no. So, speaking of competitive too, like where do you would you competing on these teams and whatnot? Like where do you see yourself in Valorant? Like in esports, like do you want to be a pro player?
I think everyone who competes ultimately has the goal
of becoming a player,
of becoming like a pro player, like turning the game into their profession. But I mean, for me, like even if you gave me a crystal ball and you told me and you looked into the future and you told me like I wouldn't be a pro Valorant player at any point in my career, I'd still compete because I'm a competitive person. It's just something
just fun.
It's fun. It's a passion for me, and so so I would just keep playing. I mean, to answer your question, I would love to be a pro, but I mean, I'm gonna keep playing this until I physically cannot play.
Yeah, we talked about this in the car too. Like you just want to be in the scene.
Yeah, I just
love esports.
Yeah, I just love esports. I love gaming. I love all that type of stuff. So I just want to be in it as long as I can.
I guess a follow up question to that then: do you see yourself kind of inserting yourself within the pro scene in a different type of position rather than just competing. As a
Yeah,
player.
yeah. So like, actually, I mentioned this to Nagay. Like, in September, I'm actually going to school for a postgraduate program. It's called Esports Marketing Management. Yeah, so I'm getting into that. So if I don't end up becoming a player, could be involved in it in the marketing management. But even so, like, because I was looking for a team before finding this team, I've also like considered like I'd also be down to be like a coach. But
Right.
I think I have enough like knowledge in the game, but also I think I have like, I guess, the people skills, because coaching in general, not just in esports but in all sports, is like a lot of like people skills and like knowing how to manage egos and stuff like that.
And that's definitely like a big skill that a lot of people like underestimate. Like this
Yeah.
building relationships with other person.
Yeah, I think I that's something I could definitely do. So like that's also, so if I don't become a player, like I can be like a coach or something I've considered.
Right. Okay, well, cool. Well, I mean, to move on to a different question that I wanted to ask you. What's your favorite esports team?
Favorite esports team?
Yes, sir.
So
I feel like I know the answer, man.
you know the answer, but
Yeah, like-
so like I said, I used to play League of Legends growing up,
Yeah.
and so the team to watch back then was
everyone be
TSM. It was
TSM!
Compared to
So I've been a TSM fan like through and through, but like over the past couple of years, like it's not that I don't support them, because I still do. Like if TSM wins, I'm so amped, but then when they lose, I'm like, it's TSM. Like, it's TSM.
You're just used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But yeah, so I'd say I'm a TSM fan.
Okay, cool. Have you been following VALORANT?
Yeah.
TSM or esports? Like,
Well, I've been following TSM esports in general. Like I literally I'm not even. I think TSM's the only esports org that I follow on Twitter.
okay,
Yeah,
true.
like, I don't
I'm
follow-
sure, like during league, like you follow them, like
Yeah.
Just to follow now, like league.
The league for TSM? Oh, I mean they're in the off season right now, but yeah, no, I still follow them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What do you think of the whole like Reginald situation?
Yeah, how do you feel about TSM as a whole organization?
Yeah, how do you feel
State
about-
Okay, no.
I want to hear your
We
thoughts
should
on
get
the
the weeds
state
of
of
it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear the thoughts of the state of the org right now.
Yeah.
Like growing up, I'd always thought like, if I could ever like join an esports org,
It'd be TSM.
TSM, can't like TSM Jar0sa. But now I'm like, if TSM offered me a spot on the team, bro, I don't know if I don't know. It's gonna be a rough one.
Yeah.
But no, it's like a really it's a really tough spot because of the whole Reginald situation. I guess like, I don't know. It's a tough situation. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely a lot of different factors and things to take account of. Like, it's hard to wrap your head around so many things, and just how do you think they can recover from it, or like how do you think?
I will say I think they took a solid step in the right direction with Reginald, like being very transparent. Like I don't know if you read his like Twitter post. Like he posted a Twitter post where he like obviously apologized for everything, and he also like put out the entire TSM investigation into him. Like he put it out publicly.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So like, cause I think when you're in a controversial situation like that, like the most important thing to be is like transparent with your fans, and so I think they took the right step in that direction. But I mean, the only way they can really recover from it is just continue to be transparent and like try to build a culture, quote unquote, where it's like supportive of its employees and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Do you think there's a world where it would be better if he would step down?
That's a good question. The real question though is like who would like replace him though. Yeah, like because Reginald's he's a legendary esports org CEO, right? Like he literally built TSM from the bottom, and he's like a legend for that. So like, I feel like if he were to step down, like I could see this as the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
For TSM.
We talked about this too earlier. It's like the one stopping TSM right now is literally Reginald. Like they're imploding from the inside.
They are, yeah.
And I think you have to fix that problem before it gets
Internally,
too late. But it's a good point. Like who would replace Reginald? Right? He literally grew this org from nothing. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's another issue within itself, right? The reason that you were the reason that it's so successful, but also why it's so shit right now.
Yeah.
It's like it's an internal problem that's hard to fix.
Right.
It's like
it's tough.
Yeah, no, it's such a tough situation.
Okay.
Just don't be an asshole, Reggie. Like, come on, just be a good person.
All right. Well, to segue into like esports now, where do you see Jar0sa in the next 5 years? At least in esports, like.
Well, I mean, I gotta speak into existence. I'm gonna be a pro player.
Speak into existence, bro.
In 5 years, I'll be a pro player.
Bro, this guy, bro. Nah, he will be, bro. I see
2027. Just mark that.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
I'll be taking him with the first overall pick in the VCT.
TSM jersey.
After I put on the hat, you know. Put on the hat and everything.
That'd be so good.
Wait, that actually so good for the sport too.
I think that would be so good. Honestly, I see esports trending in that direction anyway.
They do. I don't know if they still do it, but for the past couple of years, they did that in League of Legends.
Did they?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically, because League is franchised, right?
Yeah.
And so they have like the academy team, and then so what they would do is at the end of each season they would have like the best, I guess, free agents or like players who aren't on a team. They invite. I don't know how many they invite. I think it would be like at least 20. Like they would do a good amount of like people from ranked and stuff like that, and people who don't have teams, and then they invite them to the studio and like put them on teams and compete, and they would have like a draft.
Wait, so it's almost like a draft combine.
Yeah, so it's like a draft. It's a draft combine, and then they draft them. But I remember it was so cringe. I remember watching the first one, and then they would literally announce the player, and then the player would come up. I remember watching. It was the first pick that one year was Cloud9, so it was like Jack.
Yeah.
So like the guy came up, like shook hands and everything. I was like, this is kind of cringe.
I mean, esports players themselves, the social interactions are just weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry, to talk about more about like you talk about how that was because of franchising, right? And we talked about earlier, like, what do you think of a Valorant franchising?
No, I actually think like
Valorant
as a competitive player, I think franchising would be really good for Valorant.
Right.
I don't agree with necessarily the distribution of teams. So like having, I guess, North America combined with the rest of LATAM and Brazil. Like I don't agree with that, but I think franchising as a model will be really good for Valorant based on the way franchising is for League of Legends. Yeah.
Right.
Because in League of Legends, like before it was franchise, like it was basically like a promotion system. So like you would have like the two or three worst teams get relegated, and then like the top 3 teams and the tier below like move up. Like that's how it worked in League.
It's basically like ESEA.
yeah. It's like CS and like...
Yeah, exactly. And so like the problem with that was like there'd be a lot of teams invested. So like a lot of teams like trying to get into it. But then when you have a franchise system, like you have like a set number of teams, right? But when you have that set number of teams, it allows that organization to like invest more. So for example, like in I'm just going off League of Legends because League of Legends is like I think the best case of a franchise.
And it's right too. Like they're probably gonna replicate.
Yeah, they're probably gonna replicate it.
Yeah.
But like for example, like okay, like we'll take TSM for example. Like
Right.
every team does this by the way in League of Legends, but they have like the main TSM team that plays in LCS, and they have the academy team, and they also have what the teams call a next team.
Yeah, next.
The next team. So like those are usually filled with like 15, 16-year-olds. Like this is like the quote unquote like up next, right?
Yeah.
And so, but before franchising existed, like they didn't really have these like
these levels.
Yeah, these levels and support systems. Like by the way, like these teams, like they have like coaches, they have like staff. Like it's like the point is like because of franchising, teams are investing more into like talent.
Right. It's like creating like a
Farm system.
A farming system.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
AAA.
AAA, AA. It's like baseball.
Like baseball.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that will be really good for Valorant because right now although like I can understand like people being upset with franchising because that means like people would quote unquote lose their jobs, but it also creates an easier pathway to becoming pro, right? Because then if you get onto like one of these like amateur or one of these like academy or like next teams, you're getting really good resources because a lot of like tier 2 Valorant players and teams right now don't really have access to that.
Right.
That is a good point. Yeah, I never thought about it.
Yeah,
I was actually on the opposite side of the franchising because we're seeing the negative portions of it right now with Luminosity. Like not also that is an organization problem anyway.
Yeah.
But like still like LG being forced out of Valorant, quote unquote. And then you worry about these little organizations like Ghost Gaming.
Yeah.
It's like you have a team of like 5 guys who gel really well, but then once franchising comes into play, Ghost isn't part of that, top echelon of orgs. It's like where do these 5 players go? But I think to your point, the way you laid it out, it's like it kind of takes the barrier of entry away a little bit more.
I guess like a more concise way to say it is like so like the tier 1.5 teams because like Valorant tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, etc. Right? Like the tier 1.5 teams, they're gonna be against the franchising because like they're
literally right there.
They're right there. They're gonna get screwed over by them not getting accepted. But the tier 2 teams, so for example like the TLC teams who I think they've actually got signed, but like Virtuoso, like Lenny type. Sorry, like I'm just trying to think of teams off the top of my head. But like these teams, like they'll actually probably benefit from franchising because like the franchises will like they'll probably pick them up because they're going to invest in future
exactly.
future talent, right? So that's why I think like franchising would be really good.
Right. No, for sure.
You know what sucks?
Great point.
Any model or anything that anyone tries to come up with will always not benefit a side.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you can't benefit everybody, which is like the 1.5 teams.
But I think that's what makes. I think sometimes that if you, at least instead of making everyone happy, you solidify a side and make them like double down on that.
I mean, the way that it sounds like now, it looks like it would make the scene larger. It would do greater good for the whole.
It would do more good than not. Right?
Yeah, for the greater good of the community.
Right.
Because imagine like you see like a cracked 13-year-old and you put him on like a VALORANT next team, and then you take him through the process. You have the farming system. I love the farm system, man.
And I think we talked about this before franchising. This is where the money's at. I think creating systems will create the longevity of the game, right? It's like you're building systems here where now you can like tier 1 teams don't have to worry about this and that. They already have a foreseeable like timeline of like, oh, we're gonna pick this guy up. Now we're gonna farm him for a few years. Now we're gonna go through a draft, and now you have like the next 10 years already outlined, right? That's true. Where it's easier for an organization that is spending like millions of dollars at this point to like allocate their finances, right? So I think
it's just I guess because my worries lie within the 1.5 teams, but then you're right? The tier 2 teams and the tier 3 teams now they have resources that they can benefit from. Even guys in like the tier 1.5 scene, like they're good players, but even in this current model, if they were tied to an org, like a B team, or like if you will, then they would have more resources to their disposal than they would just being by themselves. So, this guy's so smart, man. No. Model human, bro.
Bro,
model human.
He's sweet and smart. Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. What a guy, man. What a catch, dude.
What a catch, bro.
What a catch.
All right, well, I mean, we're getting a little. There's not enough time now, but I mean, any other words, anything you want to tell, like, I don't know, your fans?
I don't really have fans.
Yeah, you do, bro. You have fans.
Yeah, you have fans. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just the people in the room.
Yeah. Anything? Well, I don't know. Anything you want? Any like final words you want to say before we like kind of?
Nah, not really. No, not really. No.
I mean, shout out to his team. Well, sorry, what's your team name again? Yeah, anything to plug yourself. Yeah, plug what's up, like your socials and shit.
My Twitter is at Jar0sa.
Tell the people.
Twitter's at Jar0sa. That's about it. I don't use anything else really. That's
Shout out the flex player of NVKS.
Yes.
Flex player NVKS. Watch out for their team. I'm really excited for what you guys have in store.
Me too.
Watch out for those guys, yo. And so before we leave here, I want to play a little game with Jar0sa. So we can play this little game right now. So we'll get we got our good friend over here,
Bambino.
Everyone
Come through, buddy.
Since Mr. Jar0sa here has been playing VALORANT since its inception or inception.
Inception.
Yeah,
Inception.
It's not conception.
Conception's when it
Isn't Inception?
Isn't Inception the movie?
This is a movie.
An event or an object. It's Inception. But
since the start of VALORANT.
Conception is the idea, I think, right? No.
Since the start of VALORANT Esports, Jar0sa has been playing this game. He is an expert at the game, so we are going to test his knowledge. We will be playing some sound effects, and Jar0sa just has to say what that sound effect is or where it's from. Everyone, for every sound effect he guesses wrong, Mr. Bambino over here is going to get slapped with a whole wheat tortilla.
Yes. So whatever he gets wrong, he gets slapped. This is kind of fucked up.
It's a whole wheat tortilla, so I mean.
Also, by the way, the definition of inception is the establishment or starting point of an institution or activity.
Inception or conception?
Conception is birth.
Conception's birth, like creation.
Oh, but does that kind of mean both then?
No, I think
No, but when you're
VALORANT conception would be the alpha when no one got to play it, but the inception is when
it got released. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
It's the starting point. It's the starting.
Conception is when they probably headed into the studio. Would conception be like the idea of VALORANT?
Conception is
True.
us coming out of our mothers, man. Come on, let's go, man.
Okay, anyway, we're gonna play these sound effects, and Jar0sa has to guess them. If he makes a mistake, Bambino over here is gonna slap it a whole wheat tortilla.
I have to measure it, dude.
He's gonna dig me with his fingers, bro.
Okay.
Slap it hard.
No, I wish it was bigger though. Like I might actually hit him with my knuckles.
More tortillas? You're not bored, right?
No, yeah, just give it to me.
Yo, don't stack tortillas, bro. Nah.
First set.
That's a phantom.
Let's go.
Easy one, that's an easy one.
I'm not scared.
You know, no, actually, it's kind of. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard because I use skins. Right, so the skin changes.
He's not an Oni user, guys.
It changes the sound. It changes the sound.
What's the default?
Get out of my way.
That's Jet.
Come on, man. He's played Jet.
That's Jet.
He's played Jet.
Next one. Alright, this is gonna be hard. If you get this.
Hey, do one more time.
Easy.
Which one is it?
Which one is
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I
yeah.
know. No, this is easy.
One more time.
I know this one.
Is that a 3K or 4K?
Pick one. I'll play one more.
I think it's 3K.
It's a I whiffed my first one.
That's hard too.
Bro, you might as well play the sound when it hits me, bro.
But that's hard too because when you use skins, it changes the finisher noise.
This
benefits people who are broke.
Bro, Tatir actually hurts, bro.
I whiffed my first one.
Here's my eye, dog.
Is that a Marshall reload?
Oh
Yeah, let's go.
We'll do two more.
Oh, that's Phoenix. No. Oh, it's Silva. Oh,
Fuck, I keep whiffing.
no, Phoenix is there. Oh,
No way!
yeah. I've played Silva in so long.
We have both.
I've played Silva in so long.
No, bro.
Okay. Last one. Let's do.
That's you terrifying, bro. Tatir hurts, bro.
Go back up. Or I can just shoot it.
Here's the sound.
He has to hear it. Stop.
Oh, that's easy. That's the green foreskin vandal.
It's called Forsaken, but it's
I caught the foreskin. That's the green one, right? That's the green one, right? Yeah, 'cause no one uses that.
Yo, bro, what the fuck? Yo.
That is the end of episode 2 of Spike Talk. It's your boy Rizzy Moves alongside Yo Big Homies in the Gates, Bambino, and our very special guest from NBKS Mercenaries, Jar0sa. Thank you so much, man, for coming through.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yo, follow him on socials, bro. Jar0sa, right? Just Jar0sa?
Jar0sa everywhere.
Yo, 0, right? Jar0sa with a 0, not a no. Follow him everywhere, yo. Alright.
If you're not liking, if you're not subscribing, you're a scrub. So please do that.
Oh my god.
See you guys next video.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe down below, hit the notification bell, and if you want to check out some videos, they'll be all the way, they'll be up here, above my head. Alright, bye.